Welcome to the Caroline Schmid podcast. I'm your host, Caroline, and this is the stripped, naked version of my life. This podcast is here to inspire, to support you, and to learn together. On here, I share my raw stories of my life, my wins and failures, all about energy healing, spirituality, and consciousness, and most importantly, on how to better your mental health. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it.
Hello and welcome back to the Caroline Schmid podcast. If you're new here, I'm your host Caroline, and today we're talking about the 5 must-read books for your spiritual development. The first book is my all-time favorite, and if I could, I would buy everyone in this world this book because it's just very well written. And why do I say that? Because it's written very clearly and in very simple wording. Okay, per law, you have about 2 to 3 pages, which you can see the book is not like a A4 huge book, like a textbook, but it's a good handbook to read. You can really read also just like one law at a time. And this clear and simple language, I think, helped me a lot to understand that spiritual development doesn't have to be very difficult or like a science. You can understand it already like the way you are. You do not need to learn a lot of new things. It's very clearly structured and very well explained. Another thing which I love about this book is that before I came into the world of like reading spiritual books, I was just like watching some YouTube videos about it, hearing about it on social media, is that everyone just talked about the law of attraction, but that's it. And in this book, Diana explains or describes 36 laws which explain life, existence, energy. We have, for example, the law of manifestation, we have the law of success, and one of my favorites is the law of frequency, where she explains that the same frequency attracts the same frequency. These laws, a lot of them overlap a little bit. So you can see that the law of frequency, or how I like to call it, the law of resonance, overlaps with the law of attraction, that the same attracts the same. And with the law of attraction, with the law of resonance, how I like to explain it is that the same frequency that you have in your life, the information in your energy field, the quality of that resonates with the same quality of information in your outside world. So if you have a lot of shitty information, you have a lot of unresolved trauma, detrimental information in your energy field, that's a low quality of energy. And this low quality will resonate with the same frequency, with the same energy. So if you want to increase the quality of your environment, of your outside life, of your relationship, of your health, you need to work on increasing the quality of your energy field first, by resolving traumas, by sitting with yourself, by resolving what needs to be resolved, to clear what needs to be cleared, and to really work on yourself. So go and get this book. It's one of my all-time favorite books. Book number 2 is called Spirit Babies, which we are going deep, okay? I actually read this book even before I got pregnant. And the reason for that was because I always knew that I would be a young mom. I even thought that I would get pregnant, become a mom even sooner than I became. But it provides you with a lot of knowledge and can be read by people who do not want to become parents like next week or next year. Like, I think it gives you a lot of knowledge about the incarnation process itself, how conception works, how karma plays a huge role and your past lives on the children you will have or not have. Or also it's very interesting, I think, to look back on how the process that you were the spirit baby basically went. So in the book, we have some main themes that are talked about. The first one is how your past lives and karma play a role for your unborn children. Number 2 is the conception contract. It explains it very well, so what it is and what kind of role it plays on you and your unborn child or children. One example I remember very vividly is that a couple went to the author and they basically could not get pregnant. And I love this example so much because it really helped me in my conception process, or like before I got pregnant and was thinking about getting pregnant again, basically, was that I was very open about what kind of gender my baby would have. And I was not fixed on having, I just want to like have a girl, or just want to have a boy, or I don't want the other sex, basically. And so this couple could not get pregnant. And in the end, he saw energetically that the spirit baby was there. And I think the mother just wanted to have a girl, or was very focused on having a girl. But the spirit baby wanted to be a boy in this incarnation. And through her thought process, she was blocking the conception because the energy did not align with the energy of the spirit baby. So once they talked about this, once they welcomed, and once they did like an exercise, I think, to like feel the energy of the spirit baby, of their spirit baby, they opened up, they talked about it, that it's okay, like if the baby is a boy. And then the mother was never like she was not against having a boy, but she was very focused on having a girl, basically. And then she's like, well, actually, I don't really care. I just want to have a healthy baby. And through that practice, afterwards, they got pregnant and they had a boy. And I hope I'm not mixing up the genders here. Maybe it can be that like the other parents or the father wanted to have a specific gender, but whatever, you get the gist of it. And through this example, I think I read the book back in 2018 or 2019. I was very open about just accepting a spirit baby in my womb, in my body. The third main theme that is talked about in the book Spirit Babies is why miscarriages happen, and talks more about the entire conception and incarnation process going on basically behind the curtains. And I think this knowledge from the book really helped me also to process my miscarriage, because I realized, okay, it's not only the sad part that I lost a baby or a potential baby, but it was the fact that my body had a contract, a karmic contract. So my soul, but not my body, my soul had a contract with the soul of the baby of my first pregnancy, that I would help that soul further in their incarnation. And as I talked about it in another episode, is that there are a lot of different levels of development in a soul's life. Okay, which means that there are beginners souls, and there are advanced souls, and everything in between. And so when a soul is a beginner soul, they can not stay in a physical body for 80 years. That's on a more like closer to advanced basically level. Okay, so their soul first needs to get to know this world, this realm, this physical realm. So they only stay for a couple of weeks or years or whatever. And that's also there are a lot of younger kids who go earlier than everyone would like, because their soul's development is only as far as they can go right now. And as horrible as this sounds, and as we are, of course, attached to our children emotionally, there could have not happened something better for them, because they signed up to only be here for this time. And your body, or like now my body, to now talking about the miscarriage, my body helped, as we agreed in our soul contract, our karmic contract, I'm going to help this soul to advance, to stay for 13 weeks, because I had my miscarriage and I had 13 weeks pregnant. And as I said, also, if you do not want to become a parent right now or ever, maybe, I think this book is very good to read, because it gives you a lot of knowledge and also like aha moments, how this entire conception and incarnation process works, and how it could have worked with you as the baby and your parents then being the parents. And yeah, I think you understand. The third book that is on my must-read list on spiritual development is called Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Weiss. He talks about how past lives play a huge role on your today's life, on your today's relationships, on your health, etc. And by resolving situations in your various past lives, today's life quality in your health, relationships, work, etc. is going to better a lot. So by journeying back in time, by journeying into your past lives, you can heal emotional and physical wounds, and by that affect the quality of your life and your health in today's life. The fourth book is written by the same author and is called Same Soul, Many Bodies. And it talks about journeying into your future lives and what impact your future lives have on you today, and what impact you have from today's life onto your future lives. Okay, so regression is basically going into the past, what he did in the other book. So Many Lives, Many Masters. And this book, I call it basically progression. I don't know if it's the correct word that we use, but through hypnotherapy, you can also go into the past, also through shamanic work, or you can travel, you can journey into the future. And he explains so well that your future is variable, but also it can be very foreseen what will happen in your future lives. Why? Because your today's decisions have an impact onto the quality of your future lives. So if you make bad decisions in this life, you will need to carry the consequences in your future lives, or at least already in this future of this life. What I love telling my clients, and of course myself, I am my biggest client, is that if you do not learn a lesson in this life, the lesson is going to repeat until you learn from it. Okay, the lesson will show up in different scenarios. That's why, for example, when people think the other partner in the relationship is a problem and they break up, they move into the next relationship, and they realize they just switch partners, but the problem is still the same, is that the lesson is not learned. So the lesson will reoccur in a different setting until you learn the lesson from the learning. And as you have, and the next book explains that even better, you have a main reason why you are in this life. You are here incarnated to learn one main subject, one main theme. And if you do not learn that in this life, in the next incarnation, you're going to work on the same lesson you came here to learn that, okay? So I recommend personally to learn the lessons, to go through the challenges with your head up, to learn them so you can advance, and not to postpone everything, procrastinate. We all like to do that. It's in our DNA biologically. Our bodies do not want us to be in danger, of course, do not want us to do hard things, so we procrastinate often, okay? But if you procrastinate and avoid certain conversations, certain work loads you need to do, then you will live an entire life just to learn the same lesson that you could have learned in this life. And when I think back on my past, of how many shitty experiences I had to go through, how much pain I had to go through, of course there was a lot of good stuff. But now if I compare that, I would need to do this same setup again, because I need to be in a similar position to learn the same lesson, if that makes sense, okay? So in the next life, if I do not learn my lesson here now in this life, I'll go through the same shit again to sit here with you talking into the camera, recording my podcast, until I learn my lesson. So that's why I think reading Same Soul, Many Bodies by Brian L. Weiss is a really good choice, because you will learn how you can better affect your future lives and the rest of your life, the future of this life right now. The fifth and last book on today's list is called Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. And it talks about what happens between two lives. So what happens in the spiritual realm? What is the process that the soul goes through after it dies until it incarnates again? And it doesn't have to be two physical lives here on earth. They can also be a life that is not physical and not here on earth. A huge part of this book also explains the relationship and the importance of your helping spirits, because you as a soul always have a helping spirit, and this soul is more advanced than your soul. It's like a teacher in the spiritual realm. So when you pass away, when you die, you go into the spiritual realm, and your helping spirit, your like main helping spirit, will be there as your teacher and will accompany you through the entire process, or I think most of it basically. What I love about this is that he goes in so much detail, because it reminds me of listening to my helping spirits myself a little bit better, because they are here all the time. They're here to guide you, to help you, and to know that, because when you are on the path of developing spiritually, it can get lonely at times. And I have been very lonely in my spiritual development at some times, but having the knowledge that, okay, I have a team of helping spirits, I have like a main helping spirit, my guardian angel, whatever you want to call it, that they are always here to help me, to assist me, to guide me, to comfort me, and I am not in this alone, is very uplifting and also gives you a little bit of motivation, I would say. And what I talked about in the last book, which this book now explains in even more detail, is that your life has one main meaning, one main purpose, basically. And this is often something which may sound like silly or just like something not as important. But for some people, their life's purpose is to learn to be grateful, to learn to be sensitive, to learn to have compassion. Like, these things are a main life's purpose. And if you want to learn your life purpose, the main meaning basically of your life, you could do that through spiritual journeying, okay? Or also hypnotherapy. I myself have learned qhht, so quantum healing hypnosis theory, by Dolores Cannon. She developed this amazing technique on how you can journey into the past, so into your past lives, parallel lives, or even also future lives. And knowing the meaning of your life, I think, can be very helpful, because it gives you a point of direction. And I think a lot of people can benefit from having more direction in life. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked and benefited from this episode, go and share it with 3 other friends so they can learn more about the books that will help them advance in their spiritual development. It would also mean the world to me if you could give the podcast a 5-star rating on Spotify, because then it can reach so many other people who want to learn and grow in their spiritual development. So thank you for listening, and hear you or see you in the next episode.